Now I'm going to show you the spine. I'm going to show you how we're going to do the spine. Let me get my pieces. So what I've done is, this is page 40, so it's the 1/2 inch spine, but when you print it out A4 size, and I guess you really don't have to print it out A4 size, because what you've got to do is, you've got to cut it down to the right height. So I ended up cutting off, you know, this much of it. Oh, why am I so far out of? So I ended up cutting off about this much of the spine piece, and then I cut them into I cut 2 pieces off. So it comes with 5 of these sections, really. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So what I did was I cut 2 of those pieces out, and then I trimmed it down and scored it on the lines, because there's lines there. You want to score it on the 2 middle lines. And then I put score tape on both sides of each flap. Both sides. Okay? And so what this is going to do is, this is going to slide into the spine part of the page we just built. So I'm going to take one of them. I'm just going to remove the backing off of one side of one of the flaps. I'm going to put the glue on there just to be sure. And all you really want to do is, on the spine side, you just want to slide that in there. Take care to not go over that score mark. Just like that. It should be pretty good. Okay, so now we've got this. It's something that looks like this. Okay, so then you want to flip it over, and you want to reach inside here. Oh, there went my thing. Reach inside there and get that other piece of score tape, and then that closes it up, just like that. So then the next page goes on that fin there. So I'm going to take one side of it off. I'm going to use some glue stick, and then I'm going to be careful, and I'm just going to slide that on there. Yeah. If I could get my head up in there, we'd be much better off. Yes, just slide it on there. It's no big deal. Look how easy this is. Okay. And this one's got a little bit of extra bend on the one side, like right here, there's more bulk, so I'm going to give it a little bit of more room. And then I'm going to push it down. I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to remove this tape here, that backing. Press it down. And then now what you have is one signature. So there's your spine piece. Right there. There's your front, your 2 pockets. Oh, my hubby's home. And then you flip it open, and there's the second page. And there's the pocket there. So I'm going to do the other one the exact same way. Okay, I had to stop last night. I was getting a little punchy. It was getting late. So what I ended up doing was, I showed you how I added the spine piece onto each one of the pages, so now I have a signature. So I did that to the other one as well. I just added the spine piece in the same way. At least I think I did. Let me make sure. I was a little punchy last night. Yeah, all is good. So now they're ready to be matted. So I wanted to point some things out, because this is an A4 paper size. So this is page 11. So let's see, let's get to page 11. So the mat for page 11 is on page 12. So when I went to go looking at my paper, let me just find an example. Okay, so this obviously needs to be orientated a certain way. Is that the right way to say that? So the mats, if you notice, the mat prints out this way. So since it'll be, if I just print it out the way it is, it's going to be the wrong direction. So it'll be a landscape instead of a portrait style. So I need it to be this way. So I can't just run this through my printer with this paper because of the way this is a portrait style pattern. Now, like this, for example, if you printed this out, you know, printed it directly on there, it's not going to matter because it really doesn't have a direction. So what I need to do is I need to use a template. So what I did is, this is important that you remember to do this. If you're going to do it this way, you need to print out a template in the A4 size, because the A4 size is slightly smaller than the regular size, if you can see the difference there. So I made sure to circle in big, you know, A4 size mat, so I can take this mat, and I need it to go this way, so then I can go to the paper, trace it out, and it'll be exactly where I need it to be. So I wanted to point that out because most A4 paper pads are directional like this. Not every pattern in the paper pad is directional. Like this, you could use this up here, no problem. You could use that any which way. Of course, I picked the bad examples. Oh, here's a good example. You don't want it to go this way. You need it to go this way, so you use the mat and you pick which part of the paper you want to use. So I just wanted to point that out before I started cutting on my mats and stuff out. So I'm going to start picking some papers out, and I'll be back. Okay, so far what I've done, not very much since I just turned the camera back on, I've used this page 12, and I have cut out pieces for this. I took one of the page 12s and made these two parts, and then I got one of my scraps out, which I have a scrap thing. I have a couple scrap things from when I made the bigger one, the large album that I showed you in the initial video, the prototype. So I've still got bits and pieces left over from that. So I found another piece, and it's almost perfect. So I'm just going to lay it down, trace it out. I already did that. And then it's going to be a mat for right here. So instead of using a whole fresh sheet or running it through my printer, all I have to do is lay that down and trace it out. And then cut it out. So this is another good reason why you need to keep all your scraps together in one place, because when I made that other scrapbook, you know, there was a lot going on. And I had a lot of stuff everywhere, and it could have easily got, all these pieces could have easily got lost. So then that is going to go right there. So it fits just perfect, and I didn't have to start a whole nother sheet. And so I am going to ink these up and glue them down. I'm using, again, it seems like I'm stuck on black right now. This is my old one, and I re-inked it up, so it's good. But for a video's sake, I'm going to use a new one. This is Archival ink in jet black. I get mine at Hobby Lobby, or they have it at Hobby Lobby. Sometimes I get it online when I'm placing an order, and it's on sale. I mean, you never know. You don't always have to get new ink pads. You can re-ink them, but mine get kind of cruddy, I guess. I don't know. I'm guessing everybody else's does too. And I think it's because of these applicator blending tool things. I don't change mine enough for it to not get little pieces everywhere all the time. But this is a new one. I just started using it when I started making this one. So this is going to go right here. I'm going to go ahead and attach that down. Matter of fact, I think I'm going to use a tape runner this time. My ATG tape runner. Just so it's quick and easy. And to show you that you can use any kind of adhesive. You do not have to use wet adhesive. So the only drawback to using a tape runner is that there's not that much wiggle room. So just so you know. Okay, and I'm going to ink these up and attach these down. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to use my tape runner. I wanted to point out too that I'm not going to bind it together until I've got it mostly done, because when you're doing the Coptic stitch, you can easily give yourself some room. Like you can, when you're sewing it together, you put less pressure in certain spots, then you give yourself a little extra wiggle room when you sew it. So I wanted to kind of point that out to you, and you'll understand what I'm talking about when I go to sew it all together here. I probably could have cut this piece down, and probably should have. That's kind of a waste. I wonder why I didn't cut it down. Well, this is probably another reason why wet glue would probably work better in this instance. Come on. There we go. So I'm just going to try to line it up just like that. And then this piece right here. So now we've got those pockets matted, and we've got this full mat right here. Remember I told you I was going to put some flowers and stuff on here. So I wouldn't do a lot of your inserts yet. I mean, you can, and that way you'll have thickness, but I wouldn't do it right now. I would wait until you get everything matted and then go back and add your inserts and stuff. Alright, I'm going to pick out some papers for this, because remember we've got a flap, a flap, a flap, and a pocket. So I'm going to work, whoa, which way? Whoop, whoop. I'm going to work on that and be right back. Okay, for this next page, this flip, these two flips, it's page 16, or no, it's page 15. And remember, with the add-on mat templates, there is a template for that. So if you're going to use that, be sure to use print it off in the A4 size for this when you're using A4 size paper, or it'll be too big. So I am using the template, and I'm just going to trace it out, and I'm going to, I just kind of wanted to point out that this is where, since you don't have the cut-off pieces, when you're using an A4 paper, you don't have the large cut-off piece and the small cut-off piece. You kind of have to, you're going to have to either make your own template or use these and trace it out and cut it out. But it makes it so fast. So I've got 4 sides, so I need to do this from 4 different papers. I'm going to do that, and I'll be back. Okay, so I've got it all cut out and inked up, and I was getting ready to attach it, but I just wanted to point out that I haven't printed anything out yet for these mats. So far I've just been using these two templates. They're both printed in A4 size so that I don't get, the wrong size. This one is is meant to mat the page 15, and this is on the add-on mat templates. With my allergies, I can't say the word template. And this is page 12, which is the mat for page 11. I just printed it out A4 size. So I just want to kind of point that out really quick. I've already, and I mostly have been using scraps. I think I've started one new paper. I think most of them have been scraps. So again, I'm going to use my tape runner to make it fast. And then there's one flap. Then you open it up, and there's another flap. This paper is double-sided, which is awesome, so you can totally print this book out. You don't have to use the black paper. You can totally print this book out just directly onto the pattern paper. That's interesting. My battery is draining super fast. Maybe I'm wearing it out. I have to change batteries quite a bit because I do tend to have to do a lot of editing because I ramble on. So when you go through and you go ahead and cut out all your mats, it just goes really fast. Whoops. And I put the magnets there. Remember, I put the magnets on there to keep it all closed because there's a lot of pockets here. I mean, a lot of flaps. the tape that I have in this tape runner is from the tapedepot.com. It's a 1/4 inch scrapbooking tape, and the Frugal Crafter is the one who introduced me to this in the first place. She was talking about it in one of her videos, so she told me exactly where to get it. And I do have to say, if you look, it is a lot cheaper. It is a lot cheaper, maybe half the price, if not more. But I do have to say that it's not as nice as the Scotch brand, and it kind of, since it's kind of all wiggly looking there, it's not a perfect little circle, it kind of wiggles inside the tape runner. So I don't know if you can tell right now, but it's kind of almost off the wheel, and so I have to really pay attention if I'm really wanting it on the edge. I just wanted to point that out, but it is good for big projects like this, and you don't have to go to the edge with these mats. So I just wanted to point that out. So it was really cheap. So the tapedepot.com 1/4 inch scrapbooking tape. You can thank the Frugal Crafter for that. Thank you, Lindsay. Let's get back to matting here. So once you trace them out, cut them out, ink them up, get them all ready to go, and then just start attaching them all at the same time. Oh, you just heard my buzzer, my dryer buzzer buzz. When you've got something sticking down into a pocket, you don't have to do all three sides of that. You can just do the 3. You don't have to do the bottom. That'll give you a little bit more time to get it situated right where you want it without it getting hung up. And again, remember, I'm using mostly scraps here, which is awesome. Pretty sure it goes this way. Yup. So there. So now we got a pocket, we got a flap, flap, flap. And see, the magnets hold all of that together. So that's awesome. That makes me happy. Okay, so then the next part, remember these are the matching pages, so I'm going to do these two together. So let me get some papers ready for that, and I'll be back. Okay, so I'm picking out the paper for these two flaps here, and I had to use some templates. I printed out A4 size templates to go on here, because on the printout it's orientated the other way, so I needed to go this way, directional. So I picked out, I want the green to be on top, but then I wanted to point out that when the flaps open, you need to make sure that you're using that same template, just upside down. So I'm going to use this peach color on the inside, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to just start with one. Hope you can see. I'm going to trace it out. Like that. So that's the one side, and then I'm going to butt this up next to it, and then trace this side out. So that way it'll be really easy to cut it out and put it in there. Also wanted to point out too is that I was about ready to get a new piece of scrapbook paper out for these two parts here, but then I remembered, since I keep all my scraps, I have another sleeve full of the skinnier scraps, the smaller scraps, the strips and stuff. So I found some that were orientated the right way, and then I just need to cut them down to the right height and the right width. So I just wanted to point that out. That way I don't have to waste another piece of scrapbook paper. So I'm going to do that real quick, and I'll be back. Alright, I've got them all cut and all inked, and I'm just going to start attaching them down. So, I'll just show you how fast it can go. Whoops. I may have got this one too. Oh well. We're going with it. So now we've got these done. So far we've got that matted, that matted, that, and then these two with their pockets. Alright, so I'm going to move this one aside, and then next step will be all of this. Let me get some papers together, and I'll be back. Okay, so I went ahead and put all these mats on, and I matted the banner flag, banner envelope, I guess that's what I call it. And I used my add-on mat templates, and I made sure I printed them off in A4 size to fit this. And I also did the inside. So I basically just took the template for the closure lid flap thing and flipped it upside down, did that, and then I did it again, and it's just kind of like matching. So then I matted it on both sides, and I made sure that my direction was correct. And these were still all scraps that I used. And then I already put this mat down and put this was a scrap. I did have to get a new piece of paper for this mat, but this was a scrap in my scraps, believe it or not. So I have already shown you all in a couple videos how to mat that one. So here's the clasp envelope. Okay, my camera stopped. So since I've already shown you how to do this, mat in this envelope, I'm going to show you how to do the clasp. And I've closed it on one side, not on the bottom yet because the mat needs to go on top of there first. So I have printed off the A4 size clasp envelope mats. Now the only thing you lose from the clasp envelope when you mat it is that you don't have the clasp part. So you'll lose that, but it'll still look like a clasp envelope. So I am just going to trace this out on this paper here. This isn't a directional paper, not really. So where my scissors go? Cut it out. And I haven't used my paper trimmer yet while I'm matting these, so I've only been using my scissors. So if you have minimal supplies, this is a great project. Alright, so then I'm not going to mat the inside because there's really not that much space. So it mats it just perfect, just like that. Okay, so that's the one part. Let me scooch these out of the way. And then here's the mat for the back side of this clasp envelope. And I think, this is page 21 by the way. I think I'm going to use peach, and I couldn't find a scrap big enough for it, so I'm just going to grab another one. And I'm going to lay this down. And trace it out. Also, before I cut this out, I'm going to use the template for this part, the flap and the bottom closure flap. Just right in a row there. So I'm going to do this one first. Not that it's going to really matter that much. It's not going to, I don't know if you'll be able to tell if it's matchy-matchy or not. Put that one down, and then I'm going to put this one down. Oops. Okay, I'm going to trim these out and be right back. Alright, I got them cut out and inked up, and I'm going to go ahead and attach them with my tape runner, my ATG gun. Looks like I'm getting low on tape. So I'm just going to line this up, and then I'm going to go ahead and close it. Just like that. Let's go ahead and put the bottom piece on. Oops. Wonder if I can pull that up. I did not center that correctly. Oh yeah. Do I need more? Probably not. Let's try it again. That's better. Good grief. You pay more attention. Whoa. Okay, then there's that part. Flip it over. Put that on the back side there. And all done. So I'm not going to mat the inserts yet because I'm going to wait to see what kind of scraps I have left over. But I'm going to go ahead and stick them in there, and then I'm going to stick it right there. See, that looks good. That leaves lots of room to add things to make it more decorative. Yeah, I like it. I like it. Alright, and then the last page is these little flip outs here, pocket, a full page mat. Yes, let me get some papers together and be back. Okay, so I've already attached these two pieces. The pocket there, this is page 12. I used my template thingy that I printed off in A4 size. And then I already attached those, and I already attached this one, which is just this that I traced out. I didn't print it off. I still haven't printed anything off yet for these mats. And then this is the other template, the add-on mat template that comes for page 15, that normally you would use your cut-off pieces, your large cut-off pieces for. But so anyway, so I used that, and I cut out 2 sets for these little flats here, and I'm going to go ahead and attach them down. I kind of lined them up top to bottom so they look kind of like, you know, they were meant to be. Of course they were meant to be. I didn't line that up very well, but okay. I guess I can go ahead and remove my posties on my magnet. I did go a little magnet crazy with these past couple albums. I'm just really enjoying some magnets these days. They just keep everything from flopping around, which is lovely. Whoa, see, my thing came off the roller. You gotta be careful with this tape. I mean, it's good tape, it's just whoop. It's just different. It's definitely good tape for the price. I wish I could get my head over top of here. Oh well, if it's crooked, it's crooked. Oh, I just ran out. Well, I guess I'll show you guys how I do this. The first time I did this, I really was having a fit. I purchased, I think, I don't remember how many, 10 or something. And I was like, oh, this is awesome. You know, I go through a lot of tape, especially when I'm making prototypes. This is great. So we're getting ready to go somewhere, and I forget where we were going, but it was going to be like a bit of a drive. So I was messing with it, and I could not get it to work. Like, I was so frustrated. I was like, what is going on? There's this little green tab, and why isn't it working? And I was so mad, and it just did not work. So there really isn't any instructions that come with it. Oh, it does say use leader to thread dispenser. And I'm assuming what they mean by leader is this thing, right? So I'm thinking, did I buy the wrong thing? What the heck happened? So I ended up tearing it, which I probably shouldn't have. And I'm still not even sure I'm doing it right. So let me remove this old one. All of this. Let me take this. Let me show you. I wish I had an example of the other kind. But do you see how cattywonked the circle is? It's not perfectly circle. I think that's one of the problems. Oh, it's a little stiffer than I thought it was. Well, so anyway, so when you're trying to do this and I'm pulling this out, and you know, you've got to feed it. Well, I kept putting it on here. Well, the tape is on the wrong side of the backing. And I was like so mad. And I was like, what am I doing wrong? I've ruined the whole thing. And I was flipping it in every which way. And I was just having a heck of a time. So I said, I'm taking it into the car with me and I'm going to mess with it. So I did. And I kept messing with it. I kept messing with it. My husband's driving. And I put it in there and messed with it. Didn't work. I probably said a few choice words. Uh-oh. Now I'm not going to be able to get it in here now. Oh, there we go. And I'm trying to mess with it. I'm like, baby, the tape's on the wrong side. And he's laughing at me because, you know, he's... his mind's a little, he works a little bit different than mine does. So he reached over and broke it, like on purpose. And I was like, why did you do that? Let me see, how did he do it? Let me think. Let's see, I think he just literally just snapped it. Before I get that everywhere. Except he snapped it a little bit closer to, so I didn't have to do that. And then he pressed it in. Now he's driving. He pressed it down so that the tape would stay on the right side. And then when you pull it out, it's on this side now. And I was like, I didn't know what he did at first. I was like, how did you do that? I was amazed. I was looking at it and looking at it and looking at it. Yeah. So there you go. There's my fun tape dispenser story of how silly life can be. I probably don't need this much tail here. Does anybody else struggle when they're putting their tape dispenser back together? I'm pretty sure I do. I'm about to break my nail. Let me cut this little tail off. Alright, is it on there good? No, I'm going to have to make it tighter. I'll tell you what. I may have took the tail too soon. I think I need some sticky. I'm sure I'm not doing this right, so if I'm not doing it right, folks, go ahead and tell me what I'm doing wrong. It'll save me a few curse words in the future. Alright, let's see if that worked. Whoa, now it doesn't want to come off the... There we go. Hang on a minute. Before I go any further, it'll make a mess if I don't fix that. Stray tape. Alright. Yep, it worked. Woohoo! So, there you go. A little lesson in how to use that tape, how to put it in your ATG gun from the tapedepot.com. And if anybody else experienced that problem and was ready to just throw it all in the trash because, you know, how do you get the tape on the other side of the paper? How does that happen? I'm pretty sure my husband had a pretty good chuckle at my expense over that one, and that's okay. Because I felt pretty stupid once I realized that, Jen, you know, you just have to think. But I was so busy being mad that I couldn't think. Mad that I spent, you know, money on something that's not going to work for what I want it to work for. That's pretty much what I was mad about. Alright. So there's that. So we got, everything is matted except for the inserts and inserts for pockets and stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stop this video now, probably. And then the next video, I'm going to have all the inserts in there and everything's going to be matted. And then we'll do the binding and the covers, or the covers and the binding, or both, or whatever. So give me a thumbs up if you like this video, and be sure to check out the next one for the binding and the covers. See you later.